Marcus Rashford, Luke Shaw, Delo, and Fred have all been given 1 year contract extensions by Manchester United. On top of this, news has broke today that United will sit down with David De Gea and they will be looking at a renewal, a new deal on lower terms rather than a 1 year trigger on his £375,000 a week contract. So David De Gea, a new deal, an extension of 12 months. But is it right to keep David De Gea at the club any longer? Should the club be looking to move him on? We're going to delve into that and much, much more on the Football Terrace. Smash the like and share button. Let's go. So Manchester United have extended the contract of Rashford, Delo, Fred, and of course that of Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw has had a very good start to life under Eric Ten Hag. There's no doubt. Delo has really found himself at Manchester United and is producing probably his best football since signing all those years ago. And Marcus Rashford has had a brilliant start to the campaign, had an amazing World Cup, should have started more games out there. So it's truly acceptable to Man United fans. Their contracts have been extended. Fred hasn't had the best of time so far, but let's see how things pan out. But you totally understand the reason why you got to extend them, especially the likes of Rashford, whose contract actually ends in the summer of 2023 if the extension wasn't given as they work on new deals. Now, this is sensible. Marcus Rashford is a standout example of a player that is showing Ten Hag and is showing the Man United players that he deserves a new deal. That bad form he demonstrated a little while back was just that, bad form. But indeed, he's still a top class player. He's still an individual that has got a lot to offer Man United. Simple, straightforward facts. Cannot get away from them. Excellent. The David De Gea situation is very, very interesting indeed. The difference in this is that Man United are in talks with him over a fresh contract. Man United would like De Gea to sign a new deal on lower wages rather than trigger the 1 year extension in his £375,000 a week deal. Now, this is highly significant because this on paper is a good idea. And Man United have got a habit of not doing things in the right way. Manchester United have had a habit of overpaying players, keeping players at the club too long. And this whole approach is brilliant to see. Not going to lie, it really is. I don't necessarily want De Gea to get a new deal. I think United need to look beyond him. I think we need to look to the future. You've also got to protect yourself. If David De Gea leaves in June and your number one and number two targets become unattainable, injury or another club in a better position trying to buy them. And that's the bit I don't want you to forget here. If your number one target's unattainable, allowing De Gea to leave for nothing could be a problem. In fact, could be a massive problem. The likes of the Bradker and Heaton and whoever else we have sitting in and around our bench are not good enough. De Gea may not be where he was 3 or 4 years ago, but he's certainly better than them. De Gea now is better than those guys at their peak. So Man United have got to get this right. They've got to get it right. And they're doing it with Rashford as a prime example, doing it with Luke Shaw. They haven't had a good few months and they've said, there you go, there's 350, 400 grand a week. In fact, Rashford came out himself and slammed the media for their lies that that level of contract was currently under negotiations. It's not. Man United will pick up after the January transfer window with the likes of Rashford and Shaw and Delo about long-term future deals. But with these extensions they've put in place, there's 18 months remaining. They will probably assess all 3 of them for the remainder of the season before committing to something new. They want these players to prove that they have the ability to play for a team that can challenge for the Premier League and challenge for the Champions League. Now, you or I or anybody else may have reservations over that, but giving them a new deal now and giving them 50, 70, 80, 100 grand a week more money each on a 4 to 5 year bumper new deal, and then they prove they're not good enough, is a bigger issue than extending their contracts. And David De Gea, when I first heard, I was told, "Oh, De Gea might be getting a new deal." I thought, "What the hell are we doing?" But on less terms. Now, if Man United could knock 150,000 pound a week off this new deal, on two fronts, it's worthwhile. One, you protect yourself in case you can't sign your number one target in the summer. Within that, you also save money, loads of money, millions of pounds a year. On top of that, moving David De Gea on less salary with time left remaining on his contract gives him sell on value. There are many clubs around the world that would buy David De Gea. Maybe not for a huge transfer fee at his age, but if he's got 4 years left on his deal, you'll pick up 10, 12, 15 million pounds for him. And he's more attainable because his salary isn't as high. If he gets a pay cut at Man United, he isn't going to get a bumper deal anywhere else in Europe for more money. It will be relatively the same as what he's on, maybe even a little bit less. So what this does for Man United, it protects them, and it also gives them more assurance that he can be sold in future. On paper, this is a very good thing. And Man United have been doing a number of these good things recently. And I don't like to praise how we're run too often, but in this case, I have to. So on the surface, what you'll see from the bog standard basics on Twitter is, ha ha ha, De Gea's getting a new deal. Or, oh my God, he's getting a new deal. This is a disgrace. You always have to protect yourself. You can't just let everybody leave just because you don't think they're good enough, because you still need a squad. And if David De Gea stays and we do sign a new goalie, top level goalie, you still need there to be backup. And maybe for a year, that is what David De Gea does. Maybe for a year, David De Gea becomes the backup at Man United. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe, it gives us enough of a time to kind of see what's what as things move on, as things progress. And I just kind of look at this whole situation. I think to myself, I'm really, I'm really intrigued by this, and I'm really happy with what the the club are doing here. I really am. Man United are linked with Costa, of course, the Portuguese goalkeeper, and a number of others. And maybe they can be landed. Maybe they can come in. Maybe Man United can get that job done. But if we can't, we need backup, and then we need to be able to sell De Gea after that. Two birds, one stone. And it may not be the way I want to see Man United operate year in, year out for the next 5 years, the next half decade. But with the legacy problems created by the Glazers, created by Woodward, it takes time to undo these problems. Sometimes it's not as easy as just getting rid of all the dead wood in one go. In fact, it's impossible. Just go and look how long it took Pep and Klopp to get rid of all the players they didn't really want. What, 3 or 4 seasons for it to be completely flushed out? So Ten Hag was never in one calendar year getting rid of everybody. He may extend a few people's contracts by a year. By the way, it's already written in just to give the club some leeway in terms of bringing in replacements and moving people on. We're very likely to see the likes of AWB and a few others leave. I wouldn't be surprised to see Fred go, even with the contract extension. But at least we get a little bit of money. At least we get a little bit of money for him. Look, I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on this decision by Manchester United. New extensions on the deals for Rashford, Shaw, and Delo. De Gea in new contract talks. Good, bad, or indifferent. How are you taking this? Make sure you're hitting the like and the share button. Subscribe to the Terrace, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.